Thought I'd start off with a song. Haven't been here for so long, and I feel I should apologize. And what good excuse can you be told? Months since my last episode, and I need you to hear this now. I'm bringing all new shows to you, book club and other stuff too. So I hope you are ready to stay strange. This long break must come to an end. I miss all my stranger friends, so please know that I'm still here. So get ready, 'cause I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here.
Еще жив, ну или дышит. Если так продолжать, он умрет.
He was strong American. Perhaps the motherland could use that strength.
Отправьте его на Камчатку.
Stranger Things, the greatest show alive. All we can do is wait for season 5. I thought in the meantime that it might be fun to read every comic and book in what I call the Stranger Danger Book Club. Stranger Danger Book Club. Book Club. Stranger Danger Book Club.
Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody in there? Check, check, mic one, check, check. Does this thing still work? Well, greetings, stranger friends. I know. It's been way too long since I've last spoken with you. And all I can say is, my bad. No, honestly, I want to apologize for taking so long to finally get a new episode up for you. So I remember I got an episode up right, I think it was either New Year's Eve or right before New Year's Eve. And it's June now, Mike. That's 6 months ago. Yes. But then I forget what happened in January. And then February come around, I was like, oh God, I haven't done an episode. Oh my gosh, oh my goodness. So I got an episode up in February, which is the second month. So that's, okay, wait, hold on. It's been a while, but I think I can still, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh month. So actually I'm sorry, it's not June, it's July. It's the it's 7 months since December and 5 months since February. And that's how math works. And then I remember, so here's what happened. So February, I got an episode. I was like, oh my God, it's just, I haven't done it. I'm just lazy, busy, whatever you want to say. Then March comes around. Now I do another podcast. I may have talked about it once, twice, or 20 times here, called Geek Mentality. That's kind of my home base. That's actually where Stranger Danger first lived. It was its own feed, and it was living on Geek Mentality, kind of my home base for where I do just kind of fun different things. I do a movie month every June. I just finished that. I do a Christmas podcast in December. It's really like a bunch of mini series put into one feed called Geek Mentality. And March came around, and for the last 3 years, I've been doing a thing called Marchy McFly, which is dedicated to the Back to the Future movies. So obviously 2021, I should say, I did the original, the greatest, my favorite movie of all time. 2020, which is also plays into Stranger Things 4. 2020, wait a minute, Stranger Things 3. Oh my God, it's been so long. Oh, I've got to get back on this bicycle and start pedaling, get back into the things, into the world of Stranger Danger and Stranger Things. So 2022, obviously I did Back to the Future Part 2, and naturally you'd think 2023 I'd do Back to the Future Part 3. Well, guess what? I did. So that is an episode. That is a podcast where I do an episode every day in the month of March. 31 episodes. 31 episodes, and I watch the same movie every day for 31 days. I did that originally for a thing called Jawgust, which was all about Jaws in August of 2020. So that comes around, March comes around, and then I'm like, okay, I take a breather in April. I'm like, all right, I got to, and I still am working on some other things for other shows that I do. And then April comes around, I'm like, okay, I got to do this. And then all of a sudden it doesn't happen. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. So now I realize I want to do an episode covering the Kamchatka comic book. And so I buy it. I make this whole thing. I tweet about it that I am flying. I flew down in April to Florida, stayed with my mother-in-law for a couple of days, and then I drive her and her dog back to Massachusetts. And I read half of Kamchatka. Then I got down to Florida, and I was like, well, I'll finish it. And I never finished it. And I was like, oh God, I need to get back to this. And then we get back, and it is right before, it's like right around May, the beginning of May, we get back. And so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things with work. And then work is extra busy. And then there's like new people. I have a new manager coming at work. So I'm like, oh, I got to prepare for that. And look, these are all terrible excuses because work's during the day and I could be doing this at night. And I just wasn't doing it. And then all of a sudden it's June. I said, oh my goodness, it's my movie month, which is it's just like one of my favorite things to do. I watch a movie every day in June, and I do a podcast about one every day in June. And this was my 10th year of doing that. So I was like, I'm not messing that. And that's a podcast every day for 30 days also. So it gets hard to do multiple things every day. And I want to give you something that I actually, I don't want to rush it. I want to put the time into it. And finally, I'm like, all right, we're done. June is over. I finished. I had a nice vacation. It's July. And I'm like, okay, ready to go. Oh, you know what? My wife wants to go do something because she's on vacation. Oh, let's go do this. Oh, let's go that. I'm like, oh, by the time night comes around, I mean, I am not a spring chicken anymore. So I'm like, I'm tired. Should I do a podcast or should I read my Spider-Man book and go to bed? Yes, right now I'm reading a Spider-Man novel. It's a novel, but it's about Spider-Man. And so finally I said, you know what? I said to my wife, that's what I call her. I said, wife, tonight I'm recording a new Stranger Danger and nothing's going to stop me. And she said, okay, I'll go in the other room. I was like, thank you. Like I was like, made this big, none of that really happened. I did tell her that I'm recording. I'm definitely recording. And here I am. So a couple things I want to talk about before I get into Kamchatka. Number one, I just want to apologize again for taking so long to get back to you the greatest podcast and television audience in the world, the Stranger Friends. Number 2 is that, wait, there was a number 2. Oh, I have all your voicemail. I have it. I haven't lost any of it. I have it all saved. And I think it would be the best thing to do is to go through, I'm going to go through all of them, and I'm just going to do a voicemail episode, kind of voicemail episode. And then if there's time to do other things as well. And I know I talked about the movie where David Harbour stars as a ghost and Netflix. And I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if you sent in voicemails about that? And I'll talk about that, and I'll do a whole special episode on that. So that is still in the books, even though that is months and months ago. I'm wondering if some of you sent in voicemails based on that movie, then I'm definitely going to do that and save one just for that. It might be a shorter episode, but I'm definitely going to do it. And of course, then I have other things I want to do. There's more Stranger Danger book club coming. They're doing a novel on Eddie Munson, which is amazing. I can't wait to read that. Hopefully it's filled with all kinds of heavy metal stuff that, me growing up as a child of the 80s and 90s will love. Well, the 80s for them, but I grew up a child of the 80s and the 90s, but obviously the music of Eddie Munson is focused in the wonderful 1980s. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And I know I've talked about this other thing where I call the people of Stranger Things. I am doing that. And I am doing another thing that that I'm just going to be calling Stranger Danger Forever. Or I think I'm going to call it Stranger Things Forever. And I think you can kind of figure out what that's going to be. But that's another, I'm going to tell you. You want to know what it is? It's a rewatch. It's not a rewatch of all the episodes. We did that in the final rewatch. But I feel like Stranger Things 4 demands a good rewatch. And so I'm going to rewatch every episode of Stranger Things and 4 and, talk about them. And it's going to be much different from the full episodes where I go detail. This is much lighter. Really, I try to not take many or any notes and just try to kind of talk about things, how I remember them, how we remember them, and looking back at it as a second time around. Because everything we did for the last, for Stranger Danger, Stranger Things 4 was like experiencing it and feeling it for the first time. And now that's been a year really since that's been done. So I think it'll be fun to go back, because I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't rewatched it. I watched it. I went crazy in depth with every episode. And then, I started focusing on other things to do with the book club. And I really want to kind of focus. I think it'd be great to go back and just refresh myself. Now, that last time it was it led right into Stranger Things 4. Obviously this time, unless I really space it out, because we have no idea when Stranger Things 5 is coming. People may like to speculate, but that's all it is, a speculation. The last thing I saw, which isn't I'm going to look up Stranger Things Twitter. And they tweeted something which was interesting. And all it says is, this was 5 days ago, and it says, hashtag Stranger Things on stage. There's a Stranger Things play that's coming to, it's going to be in London. I would love it if it was also, came to the United States of America, and most specifically to Boston. But if you're in London, if you're in England and you can see this, I hope you get a chance to, and you're lucky. But all it says is, Stranger Things on stage will take you right back to the beginning of the Stranger Things story, and it might hold the key to what comes next. Now, I take that as two different things. Does that mean what comes next in Stranger Things 5? Or does that mean it holds the key of what comes next in the Stranger Things world, after Stranger Things 5? Because remember, we're getting different pieces of Stranger Things. We're getting a different stories in the world eventually. But I think the story has something to do with Bob Newby's sister, and Bob Newby, like his time in the AV Club. So it goes back to that time, which I think they say it is in the 50s, if I'm correct. This is me just going off something I read the other day. Didn't look at anything, but I just read that tweet really quick. So that's exciting, right? But long story short, we don't know when 5 is coming. I would love it to be. I would love it. It has to be 2024. I feel like they can't. Like the COVID protocols that slowed everything down. I would assume there's protocols, but I would assume it's much safer and much easier to produce things now. But then, of course, right now there's the Hollywood writers' strike, which is slowing everything down because your productions they're not going to go on and do things without the writers. So that halted production for Stranger Things. I don't know if it means, I don't know exactly, because if maybe everything wasn't written out, I don't know how it works. But either way, either it's because they can't do it, or it's a show of solidarity. Obviously I support them and I support the writers, and I think we all do. It's just like, no, we want our show, we want it quickly. But it doesn't matter. Look, we waited forever for Stranger Things 4, and you know what happened? Guess what happened? It was amazing. It was incredible. Any thought of like, oh God, these kids they're older now, and oh God, it's been so long. Is it even going to have the same feeling? Yes, it is, and it's bigger and better than ever. So I have no worries. I don't care. I want it as quickly as possible, but I have no worries that they aren't going to deliver something incredible to complete this story in the larger world. But speaking of the larger world, obviously in Stranger Things 4... Oh, so long story short, again, I said that twice, but I will get to all your voicemails, and I look forward to doing other things, and this is just kind of the kickoff, the beginning of extra episodes to come as we kind of sit here and wait for Stranger Things 5, and I want to thank everybody who has stuck by the show. If you have sent a voicemail, if you've sent an email, or if you sent an iTunes review, I will definitely get to all that stuff probably in the next episode or the episode after that, and then we'll take it from there, right? All right. Now, without any further ado, speaking of a larger world, obviously in Stranger Things 4, our friend Hopper was taken. Jim Hopper was taken by those Russians, brought to Russia, and after some severe questioning, some might say torturing, he was sent to Kamchatka. But what is Kamchatka? And am I saying it correctly? I don't know. It is that big, scary prison in Russia. And Dark Horse Comics put together a 4-part series, a 4-part comic book series where we learn a little more about Kamchatka. Stranger Things, Kamchatka. Script by Michael Morrissey or Moraki or Morrissey. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. Line art by Todor Hristov. I'm almost positive I got that one wrong. Colors by Dan Jackson. I'm pretty sure I nailed that one. Lettering by Nate Picos or Picos of Blambot. Front art and chapter break art by Mark Aspinall. And it's weird. It's black text. It's red text on a black background. And I'm sure it's just an optical illusion, but it almost feels like, do you remember the old Nintendo 3DS where it wasn't quite 3D, but it felt three-dimensional with depth? I think it's just a trick of my old failing eyes. And this, of course, is a comic by Dark Horse Comics, Dark Horse Books. Originally was released as 4 separate issues. I bought the collector's version on Amazon. So I hope you have a chance to purchase it and kind of read along with me as we go through this book. I'm excited. Kamchatka. The cover has a cool drawing of cover art of There's these two kids who are, I believe, part of some of the main story. I think. I mean, I don't know. Again, I've only read half of it. So guess what? The other half, we're going to be going through this together for the first time. And it's been months since I've even read the first half. So I can't wait to relive it and also kind of experience it for the first time. Hopefully, or at least the first time for me. It might be the more than, the second or third or 10th time for you guys. But we've got some kids. We've got a gun in someone's hand. That's never good. We have two dudes dragging a body into the trunk of a snowy car. That's probably even also never good. We got some dude with a nice popped collar. Looks like he's ready for to feel warm in a cold, brisk day. And we have, of course, a Demogorgon in chains with a chain or like a clasp around his neck and a chain. It's funny. We used to say, the first Stranger Things, it was the Demogorgon. Now it's a Demogorgon because there are just so many of them, and they're all working for. Well, we know who they're working for. So we flip the page, and now we see a cover and shows those same two kids. This might be the cover of a specific issue or just a chapter break, but it's the older girl covering the mouth of the younger boy and holding up her hand like, shush. It's almost like she's looking at us and saying it. So I'm nervous. I want to be quiet. So first thing we see is a gas mask. Ooh. Now, at first I thought it was going to be like that thing they put on Hopper, but it's just a gas mask. And it looks like it's a guard or some kind, just kind of standing there holding a gun. And there's these two guys next to him. And one guy says, "Believe me, Dr. Netinko, because of my line of work, I know all about precautions." I'm going to do some bad Russian accent, so get ready. "If you had seen the things I've seen, you too would learn to be skeptical of everything." That's bad. That's a terrible accent. He says, "But I won't go any further or put on that mask until you explain why you've brought me here." Oh, there I go. I'm kind of getting it now. And the other guy says, "Yes, see, unfortunately, you must see it with your own eyes. Only then can you possibly understand. In the meantime, I ask that you trust me, Dr. Olaf. He says, I ask you to trust me. Dr. Olaf, a man of your particular interest, you're going to want to meet what's on the other end of that tunnel. I think I know what it is." So he hands... So there's two dudes we got to worry about. Netenko and Orlov. And they're both doctors. Well, I'm sure they're very nice guys, both doctors. And he hands the dude a gas mask. And now they go down this hallway. They leave the first dude behind. And Netenko's like, "You have an intriguing background, doctor." I think I'm going to do this like Dracula almost. "You have an intriguing background, doctor. Telekinesis, mind control, various attempts to make advances in fringe science. It's all very unique." I like to pause at the end of every sentence. "You've even created a device of your own. I'm told it harnesses this so-called telekinetic power." He's like, "In theory, yes. I can't say I've had much of an occasion to use it." And above him, it's like a pop, like the lights popped. And the other guy's like, "Yes, that happens from time to time. Come, it's about time we put your device of yours to good use." See, I did it again. I paused. So they're in that. They go through this door, and they're in this it almost looks like, are they in the lab from Stranger Things 4 where they found all the stuff? Because I see some tanks in the background. Not tanks like driving tanks, like tanks that you would put, what they found. Demogorgons in, back to tanks from Star Wars, from Back to the Future. So the main guy, not the guest, but the first guy, he's like, "Bring the subject forward." And the Orlov dude's like, "Excuse me, doctor, I'd really like to know why I'm here. What is this place?" And the first guy says, "Your Soviet Union needs you, Dr. Orlov, and I hardly need to remind you that there's no greater honor than answering your country's call." He's like, "Oh, yes, of course. But questions later. For now, I'd like to introduce you to your new assignment." And then, apparently he didn't care. He took the mask off right away. He's like, "What in God's name is that?" "That, doctor, is a weapon." And they're looking through this grate, through like a cell. And on the other side, we see it. The Demogorgon. And there's like a noise that it's making. And I'm going to say what it says. It says, scrack, scrack. That's what it says. And he says to the doctor, to Orloff, he says, and you're going to help us keep it alive. So this is one they got. See, when is this? Because I'm trying to put where the timing is in this. But maybe this is when they first got it. So maybe Jim is there in the prison. Again, I don't know as much. Maybe you already know, but I don't know. And I love that I don't know. I love that I'm not like pretending what happens next, but I've read the whole thing. This is exciting. So we cut away from the prison and we go to, looks like some apartment building. And we see the older sister. She's looking on her brother. She says, I hope you're having sweet dreams, brother. And she goes to her kitchen, gets some milk, hears a crash, runs, and there's someone trying to break in or someone come into the house. I'm sorry. And she's like, who's there? Who's there? And boom, it's the dad. He's like, Anna. She's like, Dad, what are you? He's like, sweetheart, listen to me. Wake your brother right now. Both of you go downstairs to Mrs. Sidrum and stay there. You have to go right now. Mrs. Sidorova. So he gets, looks like he's coming in hot. And he was in his office. He wasn't coming in. He was in a different room. He's got some sort of briefcase in his hand. And all of a sudden there's a knock at the door and he's like, oh no. He's like, take this, hide. I'm not going to do the accent the whole time. Oh, maybe I am. Take this, hide this, whatever you do, don't let them have it. She's like, Dad, I don't understand. What is happening? He's like, there's no time. Go. So she runs off with the briefcase, goes behind her door, but she opens it and looks in really, really quietly. And there's these two, look like, Soviet KGB dudes. Hands up, don't move. He's like, I'm not moving. I surrender. And then, is that the doctor that we saw earlier? He said, my good doctor, what was all this fuss necessary? And Orloff says, I destroyed the device, broke it into 1,000,000 pieces. You'll never get it to work. Oh, Boris, I really wish you hadn't said that. Even if I did believe you, your resistance means I can no longer help you. As one scientist to another. And then in the other room, the brother wakes up and she's like, Anna, why are you in my room? And that's when he grabs her. She grabs him, puts the hand around his mouth. I'm bad at words, and says, shh. And that's the picture we saw from the chapter break. And then outside, the bad Russian dude says, you're going to have to deal with my superior now. And let me warn you, you're not going to like her. Dr. Lutchenko, we searched Olav's office. The device isn't here. Should we continue the rest of the apartment? So the guard comes out. Looks like he whacks Orlov on the head. And they're hiding. The kids are hiding in the other room. And Natenko's like, that won't be necessary, Captain. So I don't know why he says that. But they're like, come on. The girl gets the brother. Let's get under the bed. And Natenko says, Orlov made this device once before. I'm confident he can be convinced to make it again. My superior will make it abundantly clear that his life depends on it. So we see Anna, the sister, crying, holding the device. We would assume it's a package of some sort, and she's crying because they took her dad away. So it's 3 days later, and the sister and the brother are in the middle of the park. And the little boy's like, I'm not even sure we know his name yet. Oh, his name is Leonid. So it's Leonid and Anna. And he's like, when are we going to do something to find Dad? She's like, do something like what, Leonid? Do you think this is something the police can help with? He's like, no, but maybe if we can open up the case, we can figure it out. She's like, no. Dad trusted me with this. We're not going to screw around with it. I'm not screwing around if it helps Dad. And then children... All of a sudden, a woman shows up. You mustn't worry about your father. He's working for the state, and there is nothing to fear from the state. And she says, yes, Mrs. Sidorova. So that's the woman who's been watching them. And she says, remember, Remember that, always. And remember also, and she leans really close to them, and she says, that the secret police are everywhere. So mind what you say. They're always watching. Like that Mr. Frost. He's always watching. And you see there's this dude, Mr. Frost, who's up in the apartment looking down really creepily. But it seems like Mrs. Fedorova might know something, or at least know that you don't want to ruffle any feathers and give the appearance that everything is cool. She said, so now she says, my poor Anna, you've grown up so much, so fast since your mother. She pauses, so obviously their mother is no longer with us. Or she's gone, or she passed away. She says, take care of your brother as you always do. Your father will return, and you will be family again. Mark my words. And then she walks away. So maybe she just knows for them to be quiet because she knows what their dad does. And the little kid's like, we haven't been a family since Mom. She's like, don't even talk like that. We're still a family. And Mom would expect us to do everything we can for each other. You're right. We have to do something. Dad needs us. So she says, whatever happened to him, it has to do with this case. We're still not going to mess with it. But if we can learn what Dad's been working on and where. And Leonid's like, and we can figure out who took him. We'll go to the lab, she says, tonight. But we have to be, and Leonid's like, we'll be like secret spies on the hunt for. She's like, Leonid, we have to do it quietly, okay? Got it? Yes, we'll be super secret agent spies. Look, Mrs. Fedorova might be a little weird, but she's right about one thing. Someone is always watching. We cut back to the prison, and we see Orlov's in a cell. And they're like, come on, let's move. She wants to see you, doctor. So they bring him down some step. He's like, what is this place? Where are you taking me? And you hear someone screaming, let me out, let me out. He's like, hey, and they shove him forward. And all of a sudden you see this woman. She says, Dr. Orlov, a pleasure to meet you. I can't help but do the voice. At long last, I am Dr. Karin. I trust your wait was a pleasant one. And someone behind her is like, please, please, listen to me. I swear to God, I'll be good. And they're like, she's completely ignoring him. He says, I understand we have a problem, Dr. Orlov. And Orlov says, no, you have a problem. You want to keep that thing alive, and I will not help you. Ah, that's the great pragmatic mind I've heard so much about. Unfortunately, I don't think you've grasped the breadth of your situation. And she tells him, I think it's only fair. I've explained to you. So that guy in the cage behind her, she goes up to this cage. There's this wheel, and she puts her hand on it, and she starts turning it. But she says, one way or another, we will find a way to replicate your device. Preferably, you save us all the time, a lot of time and discomfort, and you do the work yourself. You still have time, doctor, to be a hero of your country. I'll see to it myself that you're decorated and well compensated. But she says, or doctor, you can choose a different path. But like I said, before you decide, I think you deserve to understand your situation. While she's saying that, the dude behind the prison, behind the grate, behind the wall, the bars, he's like, what is this? What are you doing? Stop that. Stop spinning that. She's spinning this. And that's when she says, you can understand your situation. And she says, you can understand your situation fully. And when she finishes saying that, what she opened up was a little door in the back of the guy's cell, and out comes a Demogorgon. And it's like, and he said, no, no, no. The thing leaps on this prisoner and just tears him apart. It's good old mouth face. Just jumps on him, eats his chest. He's like, no. And she looked, Orlov's watching this in just horror and disgust. And she's like, I'll leave you here for a little while. Give you some time to consider. I can't help but do the pause. So we cut back to their apartment, the office, and the kids are in there, and they're looking. Anything at all? It's like, no, nothing about the secret device, nothing about lab work that Dad was working on. All I got here are some letters to Dad. And the brother's like, Anna, I'm scared that we're ever going to see him again. And she says, listen to me. We've been through worse, okay? We know Dad's out there, and we're not going to give up on him. And I know he'll never give up on us. And Leonid says, but what'll we do if he never comes home and it's just you and me? And she says, then I'll take care of us both. But you can't think about that. Everything's going to be all right. And while she says right, all of a sudden they hear voices coming from the other room. So someone's in the apartment. As long as Dr. Orlov refuses to cooperate, we're going to have to find our own way to replicate the device. So there's the bad doctor again. And he's like, we start here, Olaf's lab. Grab the equipment. Anything that isn't bolted down is coming with us. Everyone stay where you are. I believe we have company. So she hears the kids. And let me see if I can remember. But he doesn't see them yet. But he's like, Anna and Leonid, there's no sense in hiding, all right? We're going to find you. Oh, he sees their bicycle. That's how he knows they're there. And he's like, we're going to find you, so why don't you come out now? Maybe we can find a way to help each other. How does that sound? And Leonid runs out. He's like, give us back our dad. Runs out, and one of the prison guards grabs him. And Anna's like, let him go. Of course. Private, please lower the child. We can all be friends here, right? And friends, they help each other. You can help by giving me that case. And Anna says, no, never. Not until you take me to our dad. And the doctor says, I can have my soldier take hold of your brother again. I can have him do much, much worse. And then you hear a voice in the background say, no, actually, you can't. And he takes the guard and boom, snaps his neck right there. And they're like, who the hell are you? Get him. The two guards turn their gun on him, and he grabs the gun, shoots one guy, takes the gun, smashes the other guy. And then the original doctor is like, listen, please, I'm just a scientist, a servant of the state. Smacks him with the gun. And they're like, don't hurt us, Mr. Frost. Because it's that same dude who was looking out the window before. Remember, Mr. Frost is always watching. And he says, why would I save you just to hurt you myself? She's like, because you're one of them. You're with the secret police. Oh, yes, I am, or I was. It is complicated. Well, if you're not here to hurt us, why are you here? He says, your dad was taken. And the men who took him are, let's just say, I'm ashamed of what my country has become. So Anna's like, so what then? I'm going to help you get your dad back. Wait. Leonid's like, are you a super secret agent spy? It's like, what? No. And why would I tell you if I were? Look, there's only one important question here. Do you two want to help me or not? The answer, by the way, is yes. You have no other options. And like, wow. Anna says, wow, when you put it that way, your offer is too good to pass up. Great. Then let's get moving then. We've got a lot of ground to cover. And he picks up a file, and on the file he reads one word that stands out. Kamchatka. And that is the end of chapter 1 of this 4-part series. So that's how the first issue ends. Oh my goodness. So what do we got so far? We have the scientists who work at Kamchatka. They've got a Demogorgon, and they bring in a doctor who's worked with telekinesis and mind reading and all kinds of cool stuff. And they want him, he's built some sort of device. I have no idea what the device is. They want him to use that device and help to keep this creature alive. He wants no part of it, so he obviously escapes. He takes the device. He says he destroys it, but he gives it to his kids to hide while they take him away. And then they go back to look for it. They find the kids there, but then, of course, Mr. Frost shows up, and he's like John Wick. Just even the name, cool. Mr. Frost comes in, bam, 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 saves the kids and says, come on, let's go. And that's the end of the issue. If I read that as one issue and had to wait a month, I'd be like, oh my God, what happens next? But luckily, we don't have to wait that long. Kamchatka, Chapter 2. the chapter break shows a really great drawing, great cover art, and it shows, I think it's Frost or it's the bad doctor or it's, I can't tell. It's some dude with like a wiffle cut, I think, and he's in the background. But in the foreground, we see it's kind of like he's the bigger part of the drawing. But the main part of the drawing is Frost running with the two kids, looking like they're running away from bad Russians. So why don't we get right in there? Ooh, and we see nice little break of a drawing of the Demogorgon. Again, I'm sure we're going to see that in one of the frames in this this chapter. So are they still in the they're still at the apartment. It says, take everything, all of it. One way or another, we will get inside of Olaf's mind and crack the science behind that device. No one will stop us. So it seems like Frost didn't like kill them or anything. He just beat them up really good, took the kids and ran. So they're still there. And he's like, no one will stop us. And then you see knock, knock. It's like, oh, what is that now? Whoever you are, we're conducting important research in here and we cannot afford to be interrupted. Boom. The door opens and there's a dude in there. And Dr. Netenko, I am Ivan. I've come to relieve you of your duties. This dude looks like a giant Russian Daniel Craig. He's humongous. He fills the doorway almost. There's a couple guys behind him, but he fills the doorway, and he's there to tell Netenko, yeah, I'm here to relieve you of your duties. He's like, wait, what? The Kremlin doesn't tolerate failure, comrade. This situation has become more than you're capable of handling. He's like, no, I'm handling it. Someone please show me the last night's security footage. Over here, sir. And he's like, I'm the one in command. What happened last night? And they show some video, and I don't know how they got this video, where the security footage was, but it shows Frost taking them out, and he's like, it was just some old man. You fool. Oh, I'm sorry. Netenko says it was just some old man. And Ivan's like, you fool. That is not just some old man. That is one of the most dangerous men in this entire country. Oh, I'm very excited. So we cut over to back to Kamchatka, I believe. And we see the doctor that we do like. He's a little beaten up, but he's walking around. He's in the lab there. And there's someone there who says, and there's quotes around there, so they're quoting something. There's other worlds than these. Those are your words, Dr. Orlov, from last year's science journal. Other worlds than these. What a concept. I've been following your work for many, many years now, and now here you are, working beside by side me. What a thrill. Yeah, this is a real dream come true. He says it like almost a sarcastic, but this young guy, this young doctor seems really excited about the work and about working with Orlov. He's like, yes, dream, that is it. Parallel universes, I always thought of it as a dream. But you prove that they are very real. And Orlov's like, well, my theory speculates they're real. It's not like there's hard evidence that proves parallel universes actually exist. And this dude's like, our friend down in the cellar begs to differ. And I know he doesn't know yet, but you and I, we know, yes, there are parallel and alternate universes. We know that for a fact. We've seen it with our own two eyes. So Orlov's like, I don't even know what that is. As for my work, I speculated. That is what scientists do. And the other guy's like, but your device, you built a device that, he says, I made the device to convince people that other universes are possible. Simple as that. It uses telekinetic energy to bridge our world to someplace else, someplace unknown. It was never meant for whatever it is these monsters here are doing. It's like, forgive me, doctor. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm a student of your work. And Orlov says, and that's how you want my work to be used? You wanted to help the wrong people get power they couldn't possibly understand. It's like, no, I thought, let me just show you. You see, I only did what all good students do. It is why they brought me here too, to honor you. And he's holding up a case. And Orlov's like, no. Orlov kind of reminds me of Mads Mikkelsen. He's like, but he's a Russian. No. He goes, Lem, you didn't. Oh, his name's Lem? Okay, maybe I missed that. And the woman comes in again. She says, he did. And he opens up the case, and you see it. And it's a bunch of wires connected together to make like a dome. And you're like, wait a second. I'm pretty sure I saw that put on Eleven's head. I think that's pretty much the beginning of what we end up seeing in the right in the Hawkins laboratory. It reminds me of that, of something we've seen before. I'm not crazy, am I? But then how would it get from Russia to the United States of America? Interesting. I don't know. We'll find out. So she says, you flatter yourself if you think we'd put all our eggs into one basket, Doctor. We will protect our assets at all costs. And since you won't deliver us the device, we'll help young Leng perfect his. Or do I need to remind you what will happen if you fail? She says, no, you've made yourself perfectly clear. But while he is saying that, you see behind his back, he took part of the other guy's device and he snapped a little piece off. So he's breaking it because he doesn't want this thing to work and be used for nefarious reasons. She says, excellent. Then make your preparations. We'll be testing the device today. So we jump over now, and I think we're at a train station, and it's with Leonid, Anna, and Mr. Frost. And Leonid, obviously, he's obsessed with spies. Maybe he's like, I want to be a secret spy, and he's obsessed with all that kind of stuff. So he's like, what's in the bag? Is that your go bag? What's inside? Can I see? He's like, kid, you do realize that one of the key parts of being a spy is staying quiet, right? Yes, yep, good, yep. So can I see what's in your bag? I can't believe I got myself into this. Well, you did, Anna says. Now you're going to tell us how are you going to save our dad or what? It's like, first of all, we're going to take the device of yours and stuff it in your coat so someone doesn't take it right out of your hands. Then we keep moving. The bad guys are going to be on our heels the entire way. And if we don't get to Kamchatka first, bad guys, and you see Frost is like, son of a... Turns around, and there's that big Ivan, Daniel Craig-looking dude. He says, it hurts to hear you speak that way about your friends. I see you're still keeping your go bag in the same place. Old habits die hard. But Leonard was right. It is a go bag. And Frost is like, yes, and some people die hard too. That's some John McClane stuff right there. So that Ivan guy says, a quick wit as always. I hope your mind is just as quick to realize that there's no way out for any of you. Give us what we want. So it seems like he's surrounded. Or maybe not surrounded, but there's 3 dudes there. And Anna says, how about no? You must be Olaf's daughter Anna, yes? Now, you ought to be careful, Anna. Your companion doesn't have the best luck when it comes to children. Isn't that right, my old friend? Ooh, that seems like a low blow. Don't know what happened there, but you can speculate. And Mr. Frost says, you know, you keep throwing the word old around. You're going to hurt my feelings. But here, you want what we've got, Ivan? I've got something I've been meaning to give you for a long time. Puts his hand in his pocket, throws out a knife and says, take it. And he goes, hi-ya. He doesn't say hi-ya, but he throws the knife. And, of course, Ivan gets out of the way. And unlucky dude behind him, boom, takes the knife right in the neck. Come on, let's go. But that's enough of a distraction. They run off. And the other guy's like, Sir, Peter, and Ivan said, he's going to die. We cannot let those children escape. So he doesn't care if Peter's going to die. Peter might have a wife and kids at home. Doesn't matter. He's dead. Peter's dead. There's now 2 guys chasing Frost and the 2 kids. They go on their way, and we jump back to the prison, and we see, again, I want to say her name is Karina or Kalina. It begins with a K. They're back with the Demogorgon. Pull it out, and it comes out, opens up at the gate. It comes out from the little hole they have. And she's like, we haven't fed it in days. It is hungry. It's on the other side, but they could see that it's not doing very well. It's hungry, but that's not the problem. We've starved it before, but now it grows weak. It cannot live in our world, not without being connected to the world it's from. It's dying faster than we thought. It doesn't have much time, which means, Dr. Orlov, you don't have much time. Now, when you think about that, it says it needs to be connected to the world it's from. And for us, I mean, that connection was 11, or is 11. So it's like it doesn't have much time. She tells the guards to nail it with some tranquilizers, knocks it out, and she says, fascinating work you do. Infinite worlds, infinite possibilities. Wouldn't it be nice if in this particular world we all got what we wanted? You go home to your family, and I see my dear pet live a long, useful life. So she takes the thing that that other dude made, kind of based on Orlov's device, and connects it to him. It seems like it's the same thing, but now it's connected to like the bottom of the Demogorgon's head, like under his mouth or his face or his mouth face. Connects it up and says, Dr. Lem, are you ready? Yes, Dr. Karin, absolutely. Everyone's a doctor in this. So, Dr. Lem, ready to make you proud, ready to make you all proud. Here we go. Turns it on. Come on, you can do it. Just a little more. Keeps turning it up, and it's like buzzing, and she's like, almost. And pop, 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 pop. The thing breaks. It's like, this can't be right. I followed all of Dr. Orlov's teachings. I don't understand. It's very curious, Doctor, Karin says. Very curious indeed. She turns and looks at Orlov. But I suppose there's no use dwelling on it, not when there's so much work to do and so little time to do it. Besides, I wouldn't want you gentlemen still here when my pet wakes up. He's going to be famished. Oh, he's going to be very hungry. So we cut back, literally no time has passed back at the train station or wherever they are. There they are. Get them. Don't let them get away. So they start chasing them. They're chasing us. It's like, you got to pump those little legs. We have to get to the train. It's our only chance. So I'm not going to read everything they say here, but one dude's like, I have them. There's the guy. It looks like he's just a train teller, or he's a guard. I can't tell. Anna kicks him right in the knee, and it's funny. Frost says, "What are you doing? You don't kick people. If you're going to hit someone, close your fist and do it like this." And punches the guy, takes him out. He's like, "Now come on, enough screwing around." It seems like the kids are smiling in this part. They're excited that they're in some kind of thrilling excitement and they're getting away. And the guards are like, "Stop right there." They're almost to the train. It's like, "Here, if we can just cut to the opposite end of the train car, we can get it." It's like, and then you hear someone say, "I know all your moves. What are they calling you now? Frost?" Oh, so that's not his actual name. "Why are you even doing this?" And then Ivan's right there in front of them the whole time. "You can't run forever, and you know it." And Frost is like, "I can't? And who's been looking for who all these years? Don't flatter yourself. I stopped searching when you grew irrelevant. Congratulations on becoming important again." And Frost says, "Yeah, wish I could say the same for you." And he's got his dukes up, ready for a fight, and they fight. They start punching each other, and Frost is like, "Get out of here, both of you, get on the train." And he says, "That's right, go. Us grown-ups have unfinished business to settle. But don't worry, I'll catch up with you soon." And it looks like he chokes out Frost. I don't know if he's dying, but he's like, ugh. He's like, "Don't go, I'll catch up with you soon." And you see, hey, oh my God, the next shot is Anna doing exactly what Frost told him. Closed fist, punched him right in the face. He lets go of Frost, and Frost is able to get the upper hand, kick him in the face. But before that, Ivan's like, "Good, nice, someone has taught you well." Frost's like, "Damn right." Boom, kick to the face. "Move it, we can still make it." They run, they get it, they jump on the train, get on there. They get on the train, whew, and they make it just as the train is taking away. The bad guys are looking off at them, and Anna looks up at Frost and says, "Frost, who is that guy?" And Frost says, "That's Ivan Kolachev. He's the man who ruined my life. and took my daughter from me. Boom. The end of chapter 2. That was great. So I love the ending there because now, remember, Ivan brought up something about a kid, and now we see that Ivan somehow took the kid from Mr. Frost. We don't know anything about it, but here's what we kind of picked up in chapter 2. So they have another doctor there to make the same device if Orlov doesn't deliver. That doctor built it based on everything he learned from Orlov, but Orlov was able to sabotage it. Not sabotage, I say sabotage. That's a joke that maybe 2 of you might get. But they try it on the Demogorgon. It doesn't work. And that Dr. Caroline's like, okay, we're feeding it, but when we don't feed it, it's fine. It can last a while. The problem is it's disconnected from this world. And we need you to use your device to kind of connect it to something in your original world or some sort of connection so that it can thrive. It can survive. So I guess what I was thinking before was that it needed 11, but no, 11's from our world, so that wouldn't have worked. So I guess I'm wrong with that. But I guess because in Hawkins, it was able to go back and forth. It didn't stay outside in our world all that long. The Russians are trying to keep it completely, and it's too long. And it's starting to become like E.T. at the end before like Elliot connected. It's like, oh, Elliot, I'm not feeling good. He didn't say that, but remember he was all pale. And by the way, if you haven't seen E.T., it is like the greatest movie of all time. But anyway, that's what it reminded me of, like when you see the pale Demogorgon. So, this thing's a monster, but you kind of feel bad for it because it doesn't know any better. It's just like kind of a mindless eating machine. And it's being tortured or being kind of exploited and used by the Russians. You don't root for it. You don't want a friendly Demogorgon. Well, but then you realize Dustin had a friend, Dart. He was a good friend for a little while. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so they want to use that device to connect it to its other world so that it can hopefully survive in our world, and we can use it as an awesome weapon to probably fight the Americans. But the device fails because, of course, Orlov sabotaged it. And was it Caroline? Dr. The doctor, Dr. K, said, great, you have now you have to figure out how to make it work. And I wouldn't stick around while it wakes up because it will be hungry. So she just leaves him. And what we do find out then is that we jump back and the kids get away from Ivan, who's now sent to hunt them down because the other doctor didn't do a good enough job. So they basically sent the muscle in, and there's some connection with the daughter. We're going to find out in Chapter 3. And when does Chapter 3 start? Chapter 3 starts right now. Okay, so this is the exciting part because I have no idea what's going to come. I've read those first 2 chapters before. I read them on the plane. It's been months, but I remember them. It was a refresher, but I'm reading them going, oh yeah, I remember this. Going forward, everything is brand new to me, so I'm excited to be experiencing this for the first time with you guys here on the pod. So the cover, the chapter cover, or it's the cover art for this issue, because it doesn't say Stranger Things or anything. It's just the art, which is pretty beautiful. It shows, I'm guessing, Mr. Frost, a little younger. Either he's holding a bag or a knife. I can't tell what he's holding. And he's got a little tear in his eye that shows a badge with some blood on it. It shows a picture of him, like a photograph, with some other dude, maybe Ivan, and it's torn in half, a younger version. And we see a woman at a door, like longingly watching. It seems like someone leaving. So I wonder if we're going to get a little flashback of Mr. Frost in this. And then the next panel shows someone holding a gas mask, a woman. Is that our doctor? Can't tell because it's not. It's in black and white, or gray and black. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out as we get to the next panel. And what do we got here? We have, I think we're with Orlov. again. Nope. This might be an old one. I'm not sure what we're doing here. I think is this a flashback? Yes, because this dude, whoever this dude is American. He says, you could burn in hell, both of you. I'll never tell you a thing. And then he gets smashed in the face by Ivan. He says, you American agents, you're all the same. I'll never talk. So brave, so strong. But trust me, comrade, one thing is certain. In the end, you all talk. And he holds up this like hot coil that he looks like he's about to burn the American with. And someone walks in and says, okay, that's enough. And it looks like it's Mr. Frost. Says, what are you doing? I have this situation under control. This is Ivan. He says, no, you are letting the situation control you. You keep torturing this man, he'll tell you he murdered John F. Kennedy. It's like, he's about to break. I'm finishing what I started. And Frost is like, I'm the one in charge, Kolachev. And I say this ends now. We will follow protocol and hand the prisoner over to our superiors. It's like, you always take their side. You never trust me. This is Ivan yelling back. You know, I'd watch my step if I were you, Agent Semenov. Okay, now he's called Agent Semenov. I think it's Frost, but it's Agent Semenov. This isn't the first time you've let an American off easy. People are starting to talk. They're wondering where your loyalties lie. Semenov says, how dare you? You have no idea the risk I take every day I do this job. You cannot comprehend what I have at stake. And Ivan says, you're right. Forgive me. I spoke out of turn. But understand, it is only out of concern. I wouldn't want to see any trouble come your way. As Semenov, Frost, walking away, that's Ivan says that. To me, it sounds very like he's threatening. And so we're someplace, I don't know what year it is, but we see a statue. I want to say that's a statue of either Karl Marx or Stalin or Lenin. I don't know. I don't know anything. It's probably not, I don't know. You couldn't find out now. Wow, Mike really doesn't know things. It's true. I don't. Maybe Lenin? Maybe? I don't know. But it shows a statue outside. It shows all these, it looks like government buildings and some construction going on. And we hear voices talking. We don't know who's saying what yet. But it's like, I should have known not to trust Ivan. Oh, this must be Frost, a.k.a. Semenov. And maybe part of me did. He was my student. I was his teacher. But it was more than that. Ivan came from nothing. His father abandoned him. He was living on the streets by the time I was 13. I guess part of me thought I could repair the broken part of him. So we're definitely in a flashback here. It can't be the whole issue, can it? Well, I guess it could be, but we'll find out. He says, I only wish I discovered sooner that Ivan had no interest in being repaired, and that I was an aging fool who let sentiment cloud his judgment. And so he's being either interviewed or talked to by maybe superiors. And they're like, there have been questions, Agent Semenov, about your recent interrogation. Serious questions. Can you explain to us why you've been so lenient on your prisoners? You once extracted information that was critical to the ongoing efforts to dismantle our enemies, but recently you relented, and it raised suspicions. So maybe this guy's turning into like a nicer person? Hello? He says, I am loyal to my country. We know you are, but we need to make a few simple measures to verify that you understand, of course. He says, of course. So they said, regardless how they told me the inquiries were all routine, regardless of their assurances that no one believed I was a traitor, I've been around enough to realize what was inevitable. They were coming for me. Okay, I understand what's going on here. He's telling the kids. They said he's telling the kids on the train the story that's going on. So he's like, they're coming for me. And he shows them packing some bags. And there's a woman there that says, then we'll go with you. I'll get our things as well. He says, no, Vanessa. As long as you're with me, then you share the same risk. And you can't go where I'm going. Where are you going? Your daughter, what of her? What do I say to her? He says, tell her I went missing. Tell her I died in duty. I ask just one thing for you. Never tell her I left. Never tell her the truth. I can't bear the thought of her thinking her papa gave up on her. And it shows him looking in on his daughter sleeping, realizing he has to leave his daughter, and realizing he doesn't want her to think that she abandoned him, even though he's running, but he's running to protect them. And the mother is just crying. And it's like, people, might make fun of someone for reading comic books, but my God, a simple drawing can just produce so much emotion in a story that, I'm sorry, this is just as wonderful a medium of telling stories as any other medium is. And the fact that I have friends who are like, you read a comic book. And I want to be like, yeah, yep, I sure am. And I feel bad for them that they don't see it and that they can't see it. And you know what it is? They're missing out on things. That's the way I see it. So if anyone ever pokes fun at you for reading a comic book, say, yeah, you know what? I am reading a comic book. And you realize that they're missing out because they don't get to enjoy and appreciate something that you get to have fun reading, which I'm having fun reading right now with you guys. And it's just, little things like that where I'm like, man, I wish I could make everyone see what I see when I read a comic book. But you know what? It's not for everybody. It's just for us. So anyway, and that's a good thing. Doesn't have to be for everyone. What was I talking about? Okay, boom. So he's leaving, and the mother's like, but you're giving up on us, your family. Please don't do this. He says, I must. This is the only way to keep you and Maria safe. And now we're back on the train, and Leonid is fast asleep. Anna's sitting there listening, and now I'm going to call him Frost again. He says, I've never seen either of them since. I never called, never wrote, never even watched my daughter grow up from afar. I stayed away. And Anna says, I'm sorry that happened to you. Me and Luna did. Our mom died a few years ago. I know what it's like to lose people you love. You must miss your family a lot. He says, yes. Yes, I do. So they get to a train station, and they get off. And Leonid's like, wait, what are we doing? This isn't Kamchatka. So Kamchatka must be the town. I think I always just called it the prison. But Frost is like, no, it's not. But if we spend any more time on this train, it's going to be swarming with Ivan and his men. We're lucky it's not already. So they got off the train a little early. He says, well, what are we going to do? Our dad needs us. We can't walk here. We can't walk all the way there from here. No one said anything about walking anywhere. And Frost walks right up to a car and breaks in. He's like, whoa, what? You know how to hotwire a car? Are we stealing this car? It's like, if you don't pipe down, we're not. Not if you don't pipe down. So they basically hotwired a car. And he says, I didn't evade the KGB for 15 years without learning a trick or two. Now you two sit back and get some rest. Okay, we've got a stop to make on our way to Kamchatka. Oh, my goodness. We jump right back to the prison. And the Demogorgon, he don't look too well. He's like, and he's just like drool and goop hanging from his face. And he falls over. I say he, I don't know, it falls over. And it looks like it passes out. It looks like it's barely alive. And Dr. Redhead woman, I don't remember her name, says, damn it. And back inside we see, is it Dr. Lem and Dr. Orloff? I'm remembering. And her name's like Caroline or Coline or Kaline or something like that. And they're like, we're missing something. Maybe it's just a small adjustment. I can't understand why the device failed to work. This was the young doctor. And Orloff's like, inventions, especially of this sort, they can be fickle. Then the door slams open. Bam! And the lady doctor woman says, gentlemen, come with me now. And the young guy's like, please, you must understand, we're doing all we can. We need more time. She says, oh, I believe one of you is doing all he can, but I need to test my theory. She's like, wait, what are you doing? And they push him into the cell. They push the young guy into the cell, lock him in there. And then she turns to Dr. Orlov and says, "Tell me, doctor, did you sabotage the device?" He's like, "What? It's a simple question. I know you did. And that means you know how to fix it. Now tell me." And inside, the young doctor's like, "Please, please, get me out of here." And Orlov's like, "I don't have any idea what the hell you're talking about." He says, "I lose nothing here, doctor. One more turn of the wheel is all it takes. My pet desperately needs to feed." And inside, the young doctor's like, "Dr. Orlov, please, please." And Orlov's like, I didn't sabotage anything." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, Orlov, this dude is cold. He is that much against helping that she's like, "Very well then. Lem simply doesn't know how to complete the task, and he is no longer needed." So she opens up the door that allows the Demogorgon to come in. And Lem's like, "No, no, no, no." But guess what? If you haven't read it, spoiler alert, Orlov doesn't do a thing. "Dr. Orlov, please, no." He lets the Demogorgon eat this dude's head. Just crush him and kill him right then and there. And the look, you don't even see it happen. You see the Demogorgon jump on him. Then you just see a reaction shot of Orlov as this dude is being, digested by the Demogorgon. Oh my God. Cold, Orlov. Cold. So we cut back over to, it's daylight now, and they're in the stolen car. And the kids are like, "What is this place? Why are we here?" And she's like, "Frost, hello. Are you just not going to say anything ever?" And he grabs some money out of a bag and says, "Stay here." And Leonid's like, "So I guess he's back to being scary again?" So, oh my gosh, I know what's going on. He's walking up to a house. He says, "You can do this. Just leave the money on the doorstep, turn around, and walk away. You owe her at least." But then he looks down and he sees a shoe print. And he's like, "No." And he goes to reach into his bag for a gun, or his coat for a gun. He's like, "Where?" And you hear click, "Right here." Predictable to the very end. And it's Ivan, that son of a gun. He says, "You really didn't think I'd know you'd come here? That you'd be this close and be able to resist?" And so he went to his family house. Either he went to see his wife or his grown-up kid, I'm not sure yet, but he went to visit them and give them money, and Ivan knew it, and he's there waiting for him. And Frost is like, "Fine, you got me. Spare me the gloating and get it over with." And Ivan's like, no, not yet. You still have something I want." It's like, "What? The device? I threw that off the train miles ago. Whatever that thing is or was, it's gone, broken into 100 pieces. You'll never even find it." He says, "You know what, old friend? I'm going to call your bluff," Ivan says. "Bring the girl." Like, let me go. So you see this like grown woman. I don't know if she's a teenager or a young adult. She's like, "Let me go." And Maria, "No, how is this possible? This can't be. Papa?" And, "Traitor, get off this land now. Traitor, you ruined my life." She's screaming at him. He's like, "Maria, no, you don't understand." And Ivan's like, ha. We're not here to mend old fences. I want the device, or your daughter dies. The final indignity of your lifetime of indignities, all caused by you." And one of the guards is holding a gun to this young woman's face. Tears are pouring down her eyes. She's got this look of disbelief. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. And Frost is like, he turns on Ivan. He says, "Ivan, you son of a bitch. Mark my words, I will kill you. Even if I have to rise from the shallow hole you throw me in, I'll come for you." Ivan says, "Maybe you will. But first, you'll give me the device." And then in the background, we see a guard holding the kids, or with the kids. Anna has the device in her hand. And they say to him, "You said you'd help us get our dad back. You lied to us." And he walks over to them. They're standing there. He says, hey, don't stop it. They'll kill our dad." And he takes the device It says, take it. Just please don't kill them. He said, kill them? No, we won't be killing anyone today, especially you. It'll be much more satisfying to leave you to suffer. So he leaves them, takes the case with them. We see Frost crying. We see Leonid and Anna kind of comforting each other. We see Maria, the daughter, in the background. I'm not sure I buy this yet. I think they might have given her an empty case. Let's find out. I'm going to turn the page. And, we don't know. Because we're back with the Demogorgon after it just ate a man. Pretty much. Ate him pretty good. And the woman's like, it's stronger after it feeds, but not strong enough. I need to see it reach its full potential. I've come too far to see this experiment fail. Oh, I thought she was talking to Orlov. She's just talking to one of her guards. And, oh, my goodness gracious. It says, now I know. Oh, my goodness gracious. It says, we tried to open our own portal to the other side, just like the Americans had. And we see, like, the giant, laser pointing to the upside down. I was there. I helped build the machine. But I knew even then, oh, my God. So it shows she's one of the guards where the machine failed at the Stranger Things 3. And they're like, what is going on? Why is the portal closing? I don't know. And it shows our doctor. I'm so excited. This kind of shows the connection between, where we're coming into Stranger Things, the TV show side of things. I mean, we're seeing, is it Alexei, right? And the big scary Russian and some other dudes. And the woman was there. She was working. She was part of the team up where the giant laser device was. She says, we were destined to fail. I was lucky. In fact, I was the only one who was lucky that day. Like, she survived that. Remember, there was I said there was a drawing of her taking a mask off. It was after the explosion when they weren't able to keep the gate open. She says, everyone else, Dr. Alexei, the comrade, general, saw nothing but failure, but not me. We see her going over and she sees a small little dude, and it's looks like a tiny little tadpole. And I believe that's exactly what turns into the Demogorgon. So this is how they got the Demogorgon. They opened the gate, or if it's the same one we see, because that's at the end of 3, they already have one, but probably not the same. Well, it could be, because they grow up pretty quick, but it looks like a little tadpole, just like Dustin have. So she goes over, she sees a little slimy thing, she picks it up with her hand, and she says, I've watched it grow. I've nursed it from every stage of its life. We've come so far, and I will not, under any circumstance, lose it now. Dr. Corrine, I've just received word, Dr. Ivan. He's recovered the device. He's on his way here presently. She says, yes, at last, I will have full control over my pet. With the device now in our possession, should I bring Dr. Orlov to us? And Karine's like, no, not yet. The beast just ate. But soon. It shows the Demogorgon all bloodied up. So I think they're going to use the device and feed Dr. Orlov to the Demogorgon. She's like, but soon. And that is the end. Oh, my goodness. That's the end of chapter 3. Oh, my goodness. So, okay. Where are we now? So we got a little background where he was kind of softening. He didn't want to be part of this, KGB roughing up people. But he knew that his time was short, so he ran from his family. And now he's with them. He's with them in Kamchatka. Well, they get off a little early. They steal a car. And instead of going straight to the prison, he takes a detour to his daughter's house to give some money. But of course, Ivan knew he would go there. Seems like the kids felt like they were being betrayed because they're like, you were taking us to our dad. What the hell? And he goes over, he's like, just give this to them. Gives the case to Ivan. Now Ivan's bringing the case back to Dr. Corrine, who we find out was one of the Russians working in the science lab when they tried to open the gate the first time. She found a little tadpole Demogorgon, raised it up, and is trying to keep it alive. Bonkers. I love it. But I don't know if they really have the device. I don't know if that was part of the ploy. I wonder if the daughter will be helping, staying with them. I don't know anything about the mother. That wasn't mentioned. But I don't want to wait anymore. Let's find out. Let's get to this final chapter of Kamchatka. All right. The last issue, issue number 4, chapter number 4, depending on how you're reading this. We see a cover, a young lady holding a gun. I'm not sure if that's Dr. Corrine or if that's Maria Frost's daughter. We see a picture of, looks like Frost ready for a fight. We see kids running. We see a Demogorgon, and all around them, all kinds of flames. Very dramatic, very, very beautiful painting. Let's get into this. And of course, we get one frame from the issue that we don't know what exactly what's going on, but I'm just going to tell you what's in this frame. It's Ivan. We don't know the context of it. Ivan is choking Frost, but it looks like Frost is holding a hand grenade and he just pulled the pin. So I'm excited to see how we get to that and how we get out of it, or if we do get out of it. So we're back at Maria's house, and it looks like it's Leonid and Anna in a car, and Leonid's like, what are you even trying to do? You actually think just because you watched Frost hotwire a car, you can do it too? Oh, it looks like they're trying to leave. She's like, well, what else are we going to do? Leonid, walk to the prison? It's like, no, but nothing. We're running out of time. Do you understand that? If we don't get to that prison soon, they're going to... Well, Dad will... She's like, I know, Anna, I know. We'll figure something out. And then Maria says, well, when you do leave, take the traitor with you. And she says, you know what, Anna? This is Anna talking to an older woman. You know what? I have every reason in the world to hate your dad, but you don't. He's a traitor. He turned against his country, and he's abandoned me and my mom. I think that's reason enough. She says, this is Anna saying this to the older woman. You stupid, selfish woman. They lied to you. Your dad isn't a traitor. Everything he's done since the moment he was forced to leave you and your mom has been to protect you. You should be grateful that your dad loves you so much. She says, no, you're lying. That can't be true. That cannot be true. Right? She's like, why are you asking me? Go ask him. So she walks over, and Frost is just kind of standing there. She's like, is what they're saying? Is that true? He says, I wanted you to think I was dead. It would have been so much easier that way. She's like, Papa, please, tell me. I had to protect you, Maria. It broke my heart, but it was the only way I knew how to do it. I wish I could go back in time. I wish I could go fix things so that at least you knew all your life that your papa loved you more than anything in the world. Papa. I don't know why I said it like that. Papa. He's like, I know. I can't change what happened, so there's one thing I can do, though. I can make sure those bastards don't tear another family apart. Oh, my God. And he starts walking away, and like, you just see his back, and I was like, oh, my God. This guy is like John Wick. I want to see him have his own movies. They're like, get in, both of you. We can still make it. And Maria's like, Papa, wait. There's still so much for us to... I never told you. He says, it's okay, my daughter. I know. I love you too. And then he drives off. Now, I have a really bad feeling that he's never going to see her again. Fingers crossed that I'm wrong, but I'm a little concerned. So back at the prison, Karin's like, what took so long? He's like, look at it. It doesn't have much time. Ivan's like, in that case, I suspect you ought to take this, do your job, and you're welcome. So she goes into the Demogorgon, he's not, I don't even think he's sedated now. He's just really weak. And she's like, it's okay, hush now. She says, it's part of a hive mind, you see. It cannot live unless it's connected to its source, which is all the way in America. Oh, okay. The mind flayer? Right? It's connected to the mind. Right? Well, what we call the mind flayer. But the mind flare we know was just created by Vecna, right? I mean, oh my God, I love the connection. I can still, I can't wait to do the rewatch, but I just remember seeing it all and seeing how it was all connected. It was just wonderful. I just did a chef's kiss. I don't know if you can't see it in the audio, but I did it. Okay, I'm lying. I didn't do it. I just did the kiss sign like that. But picture me doing a chef's kiss. So she's like, it cannot live unless it's connected to the source, which is all the way in America. But this device, it amplifies telekinetic activity. So it is just like the thing that 11 used. But remember, this can't be the exact same thing because that happened years ago. This is not years before Stranger Things. It was the show. It was just what I thought it might be. This is after 3, before 4. So I have a feeling that at the end of this issue, we might see Hopper in the prison. I just have a feeling. I could be very wrong, or he's just showing up. Like there's a new group showing up. I'm just that's my speculation. Again, I've not read this, so I don't know. It's exciting. But they're going to, it says, okay, it amplifies telekinetic abilities, which means where my pet's connection was once severed, it will once again be complete. They fire the thing up, and boom, Demogorgon jumps up, and it is looking great. It's feeling great. And Kareen's like, it's magnificent. And she has the door wide open, and she's like, whoops, wonderful, just wonderful. And then she backs up and closes the door really quick. The thing's about to like attack, and good thing she closed the door. She's like, someone, go get me Dr. Olaf. I no longer have use for him. So you realize, okay, now that they have the device, they're going to, she's going to feed Dr. Olaf to the Demogorgon, which, not good at all. So we see the outside of the prison, and this guard's walking along, and he's like, he hears something. He's like, huh? And boom, someone grabs him from behind. Obviously, it's Frost, throws him off the ledge, and he's like, hey, stop right there. So I thought he was going to be sneaky, but these guards see him right away. They're like, send the alarm. Someone sound the alarm. But before he has a chance to do that, Frost is like, remember my knives? Yeah, here are more. He didn't say, hey, yeah, and he didn't say, remember my knives. This is me. Throws the knife, kills one dude, looks like he slits the throat of the other guy. And Leonid said that was incredibly violent and amazing. And Frost is like, always catch the enemy by surprise. Remember that. And believe me, if you were impressed by what just happened, you're going to love what I have in store for this place. That's when he takes a hand grenade out. So we knew hand grenades are going to be part of this. He's like, now come on, let's go get your dad. So we jump down and we see Orloff. And he's like, no, let go of me. You can't do this. You hear me. You need me. On the contrary, Doctor, we don't. Not anymore. And this is Kareen saying this. Allow me to introduce you to my dear friend Ivan. He went through the great pains to retrieve your device, which, as you can see for yourself, worked quite nicely. Now, I wonder if Orloff's going to be like, what about my kids? You son of a bitch, where are my children? Oh, he does it right away. You son of a bitch, where are my children? If you hurt them, so help me. Ivan says, I don't think you're in much position to do anything good, Doctor. Now, he didn't say anything good, Doctor. He says to do anything good, Doctor. Now, Dr. Kareen, if we could move this demonstration along, I'd like to... and then you hear the alarms going off. Now, he didn't say anything about the kids, though. So Orloff still doesn't know. They're like, must be some sort of some kind of outage. I'll have the guards go check on it. This is Kareen saying this. And Ivan's like, you can, but I promise you this is no outage. This is someone saying hello. Stay and keep your prisoner with you. Ivan knows who it is, and he's about to go out and take out Mr. Frost. So we see Frost take another guard out. They're moving along, and Anna's like, this place is a maze. How are we ever going to find our dad? And Leonid's like, maybe we should knock out every guard and try to get information. Oh, he says, maybe we should not knock out every guard and actually try to get information. And Frost is like, no time for that. We keep going until you find your dear old dad, or until someone finds you. Ivan found them pretty quickly, and now we know we're going to get a battle, one final battle between Frost and Ivan. He says, I should have killed you when I had the chance. After all, you can't break what's already broken. But not to worry, I won't make the same mistake twice. So he tells the kids, go find your dad. I'll handle Ivan. Like, but Frost, we're not ready. Without you, we... Go, Anna. Remember what I taught you. You'll be okay. Now, as for you, old friend, let's end this. So, oh boy, we go back to Corinne. She's got Orlov on his knees. She's got a gun to his head. And she says, you could have been a hero to your country. You know that. Instead, you get this. And Orlov says, and you think you're a hero? Maybe today. But by tomorrow, your bosses will be wondering what you've done for them lately. You're just like me. You're trapped. Up in the ceiling, the kids are seeing, they found him. They're seeing this. Like, it's Dad. We have to save him. And Anna says, I know, but that woman has a gun. So I need a plan. So Corinne's going on. She's like, and we'll just see how similar we are when you're the one in the monster's cage. And I'm the one out here, not being eaten. And she's about to say eaten. And you hear, hey, leave my dad alone. And Leonid is running at them. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me. All this fuss has been caused by a child? A child? And Orlov's like, Leonid, what are you can't be here. And you realize this is part of the distraction. So they're like, and I don't see what's going on yet. But she says, and he's your child? Oh, this is too good. Leonid, you have to run now. No, Dad, I'm not leaving you here without you. You really think you're going to save your father, kid? You're going to join him. And while that's going on, you see the Demogorgon coming out of its little cage. And now you see it right behind Dr. Corinne. And you hear another voice in, hey, lady, over here. And boom, closed fist. Anna punches her right in the face and clocks her out. And says, always catch them by surprise. And like you can see her hand hurts her a little, but she knocked her butt out. I thought maybe she was doing something to let the Demogorgon out, but I don't know yet. So he's like, Leonid, Anna, kids, and they have a big embrace. Now, how did you figure out what happened to me? How did you come all this way? And they're like, we'll catch you up on everything later, Dad. What is that thing? But for right now, I think Leonid said, what is that thing? And Anna says, but for right now, we have to go help our friend. And we see them fighting. And we see, Ivan's like, just give up already. They're all bloodied. They're both bloodied. Their knuckles are bloody. Their faces are bloody. He's, I'll put you down as painlessly as possible. And Frost says, never, and goes for a swing. But now Ivan has him in a chokehold. He says, it didn't have to be this way. It never had to be this way. You were like a father to me. But you were too stubborn. All you cared about were the rules and goddamn state. You never cared about me. Never. Never. And Frost is like, he's gasping for air. You see, stop it. And now it's Anna, Leonid, and their dad. And Anna says, let him go. And Ivan says, you want him? Come and get him. And Frost says, Anna, Leonid, no. No. And he reaches for his grenade. And she says, Frost, please. And Leonid says, you can't. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm getting so scared. I'm getting so sad. He says, go now. Be a family. And his tears are rolling down his face. He pulls the pin, which is, a little bit of a spoiler that we see that at the beginning. He says, go. And Ivan's like, you crazy old man, what have you done? Goodbye, Ivan. And he looks over his shoulder and says goodbye to Ivan. Boom. Let's go. Boom. Huge explosion. They show a tank, a gas tank in there. Oh, that means it's going to be an even bigger explosion. They're like, come on, get out of here. Let's go. The three of them run for their lives. They run up a ladder. They get out with a giant explosion, but they're able to get out of the prison safely. They're outside. And the dad, Dr. Olaf, Dr. Dad says, come on, kids. Let's get as far away from this place as we can. They we flip over to the next page, and they're on a train. They says, so this is goodbye. We're never going back home again. And where is Helsinki? Do you not pay attention at school? Helsinki's in Finland. Now, am I trying to speak Finnish all of a sudden? Did I just change? No. Anna's like, do you not pay attention at school? They're going to Finland. So Orlov's like, I still don't know about all this. So it seems like Anna's the one taking control. She said, we can't stay in Russia anymore, Dad. And I know that if Ross was here, he'd want us to use his money to get a fresh start. He says, your mother would be so proud of both of you. I know I've said it plenty of times already, but thank you for coming for me. Thank you for saving me. We'd never give up on you, Dad. Yeah, we stick together. That's what families do. The end. We don't get anything with Hopper. Damn, I thought we would. We get some cool cover art, different like variants and stuff. Really cool. And this was just the, I'm going to back up a little. It says, I'm just going to read the description from the back of the comic. When a leading Soviet scientist is abducted to work on a top secret project, he comes face to face with the Kremlin's new ultimate weapon, a Demogorgon. What his top secret captors didn't count on was the resiliency of the Doctor's children. While their father has been dragooned into weaponizing, I never heard that word, into weaponizing a monster brought back from the U.S. It was brought back from the U.S. along with Hopper. He's in the prison right now. Or he's going to be there. Says the two young teenagers, they're teenagers? Wow, I thought it was like 13 and 11, are forced to embark on a harrowing and perilous journey to find him. With help, I guess she was trying to hotwire a car. With help from an unlikely ally, an old but extremely deadly retired KGB agent. Boy, I'm glad I didn't read this at the beginning. Things are getting stranger in Russia, and all four of these characters will need to battle impossible odds in order to survive. If they survive. This terrifying collection, written by hit author Michael Morrissey, was written the plot and barbaric, and featuring gritty art from Todor Histrov, who also did the Stranger Things Halloween special. It combines the science fiction creatures of the Upside Down, the spine-tingling Cold War intrigue, and espionage into a new thread in the tapestry of Stranger Things. I'm sure I didn't read that right, but I got to tell you, that was enjoyable. It told the story of, it kind of filled in some gaps of what the Russians have been working on, what they've been trying to do, and what they continued to try to do. But it was just one, no, they were at the prison, right? They were at Kamchatka. So it was just one issue. Obviously, they kept going. They kept working on things. They had multiple things. They obviously had more than one Demogorgon. Well, unless the explosion didn't take out the whole thing. So it killed Ivan. The Demogorgon is still there. And, right? Yeah, and even the doctor just got punched out. I don't know if she was in the explosion. They showed the gas tank. So there was a big explosion, but it doesn't mean they're all dead. Obviously, because we know the Russian work continued through Stranger Things 4. Oh boy. Well, that was a fun read. I'm really glad I finally freaking got to it. I'm sorry it took so long, my friends. But the podcast is back. Look for much more regular things. I mean, it's not going to be months until the next time, so hopefully I'll have another thing for you fairly soon. But my goodness gracious, I needed to get back to you guys. I needed it so bad. And I'm glad I did. And I want to thank you guys. First of all, I want to thank you for continuing to support the podcast. I haven't put up episodes in, months. And yet I checked and people are still finding it. They're still listening to it. They're still downloading it. And that just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I appreciate you all, the Stranger Friends. And I thank you for sending in the voicemail. If you go to just strangerdangerpodcast.com, I think it's /voicemail or hotline or something like that. But if you go to strangerdangerpodcast.com, you can find the links to the voicemail. It might even be in the show notes of this episode. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I did that. And I thank you guys for the iTunes reviews, the downloads, the emails, the voicemails, and I'm going to be getting to that in probably the next episode. I'm going to go through all the voicemail and play them on the show and talk to you guys and answer your questions. And, hopefully I'll get some new ones soon now that you see, hey, he's still doing the podcast. He hasn't left us. No. As the song said at the beginning, I'm still here. And, speaking of still being here, I want to tell you some other places you can find me. Now, I'm on Twitter at StrangerDPod, which is really the worst possible name for the podcast, StrangerDPod, but it works. You guys find me there. But did you know I'm also on Instagram? I've only had one or two posts. I made this Instagram post Instagram user a while ago, and I never did anything with it, and that's dumb because you can find me on Instagram at two different places. You can find me on Instagram at Geek Mentality, but you can find the show on Instagram at Stranger Danger Pod, and I'm also at Geek Mentality on Twitter. But guess what? There's something new. I don't know if you've heard. If you're on Instagram, it's probably almost impossible for you not to have heard of Threads, okay? Threads is Instagram and Meta's kind of answer to Twitter, and it's been really popular over the last couple of days, especially the way Twitter's been recently. And my favorite thing on Twitter is using TweetDeck, and right now it's working correctly, but they updated it recently and it was awful, and then they reverted back to the older version. It was useful again, but my understanding is at a certain point, TweetDeck is going behind a paywall where you have to use that Twitter Blue, and I'm not Twitter Bluing. I'm not paying $8 a month to get a blue check mark. Nowadays, remember in the old days, you see someone with a blue check mark, you're like, oh, that's who that really is. Nowadays, you see someone with a blue check mark, you're like, oh, that person paid $8 for a blue check mark, I guess. Like, I'd almost be like, oh, do I like Twitter enough to pay the $8? I don't know, but I don't want that blue check mark. If I could make it so they don't put that check mark next to my name and still use Twitter, because I look at it the opposite way now. But that being said, I wonder if Threads is really going to take off. I've liked it so far, and I made sure that I have all my stuff over there. So me on Threads, if you're on Threads, at Geek Mentality and at Stranger Danger Pod. It's the same username as Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram and you're using Threads, come over to Threads. It's just an app now. You can see it on the web, but you can't post to it on the web yet. I think that will make it much more usable. I think that for me, because, yes, I have my phone everywhere with me, but sometimes I just like posting from my computer. So I would appreciate it if you could follow me over there too if you're using Threads. It's just Stranger Danger Pod and Geek Mentality. And that is really it. So you will hear from me again soon. But I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for subscribing. I need you all to stay stranger, my friends. And remember, reading is fundamental. And you can't spell fundamental without F-U-N.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Fans not experts.